presentation now on our time-space visualizer event this week. I'm really pleased to introduce to you Matt Doe from TBT Props. Matt, how are you?
Hey there. Hey, I'm good.
How are you keeping, sir? You safe and well?
Yeah, I'm isolating in this man cave of a workshop. So yeah.
It looks like a really good place to be isolating as well. You've got one or two more props than I've got this side, so you do seem to have everything catered for to keep you company on this, on what is quite a strange time we're in, it's fair to say.
Yeah, I've got my company here by the lovely John Davey, and I'm sure John's going to appreciate me for saying that.
Yes, I wasn't going to point him out, but hi, John, and I hope you're watching today with us as well. Looking super there with his Cyberman costume on. Let's start off by, I just want to sort of get to know you a little bit more as a person, I think. How long have you been a Doctor Who fan? When did you start collecting?
Well, when I was collecting, it's like a majority of people, well, I'm a Doctor Who collectors. I was about 3 years old. And my parents got me these dap old Doctor Who figures. And it was ever since then, I automatically was fixated in Doctor Who in the mid-80s, because my Doctor was Sylvester McCoy. And it was like anything that was available back then would have to buy, because there wasn't a huge, vast range of product in the 80s. So I think that's what got me into collecting mainly, is because as over the years, I would squirrel things away. I'd be like, oh yes, that Dalek's released. Oh, this box set's released. Oh, this DVD's released, or video. And that was kind of what got me into it. The parents being fed it when I was young, and I think that's how it happens to a lot of people. Mind you, with the new series now, you've got a lot of people in their teenagers, adults getting into Doctor Who for the first time, rather than growing up with it from a young age.
And how did you turn what was effectively a hobby into almost a business as such?
Basically, I wanted to do something for a living that I enjoyed, and I started a business up called Toy Box Treasures, and it was basically concentrating on anything that was unique, from rare prototypes to unreleased figures to 60s, 70s items to rare Dapol figures. And I had a network of people, and for example, a friend of mine, Brian Paul from America, he is the world's leading, I call him this, you'll hate me for saying it, leading Dapol Doctor Who expert. And he'll be cringing at this and go, no, I'm not. But everything that guy knows is superb. All the details of when it was released, the color combination, how many. And I had this network of people that I could go to and say, hey, do you know about this figure? Do you know about that? And plus my love for it of collecting over the years, I was able to identify what's rare and what's not, which a lot of Who fans can. And it was just putting it into practice of starting Toy Box and yeah, basically just getting a really good name and getting out there for the rarer stuff.
And you certainly have got quite a catalogue, it's fair to say. I've seen over the years, you've seen some weird and wonderful things coming by on the website. What's probably the most rarest? What's the most rarest you've had, I suppose, in way of merchandise?
Merchandise, I would say a really good experience was probably meeting Steve Walker from 1612 or Product Enterprise, and being able to access some of his prototype figures that were unreleased, such as I think it was 12-inch Revenge of the Cyberman doll or figure. It was meant to be a talking Cyberman from Revenge of the Cybermen. That was really, really cool. What else? Things like the Bendy Dalek. Now, he's cool. Not a lot of them have survived because they're foam. And this is in a fairly good condition, to be honest. But and the snow globe, the Dalek snow globe from the 60s. That's, I can't remember who made it or anything like that, but that's an odd one.
I've got a real passion for a lot of those 60s sort of Dalek mania type toys, you know, the sort of the big Dalek that you wobbled around in, various things like that, you know, the jigsaws, anything like that from the 60s. For me, it's proper Doctor Who.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. Dalek mania.
And then, of course, you've sort of taken your love for collecting, and you've sort of drifted a little bit into, and are making quite a go of actually restoring props, and sort of you've really got an interest in props as well alongside it. What would you say the first prop was you had any involvement with?
Oh, the first prop I had any involvement with. I think it'd be the first prop I owned. I've owned smaller pieces, but the most significant piece was a snake from Snake Dance, and it had a very lovely blue gem in its mouth. And that was, I think, the first episode. Could be totally wrong. It's where Martin Clunes holds this statue, and that was an absolute thing of beauty. And not a lot of people realise that. I mean, that was a plaster sculpt statue, and not a lot of people see that. Yeah, Doctor Who's full of boxes and polystyrene as snow, but also there's some very talented people, even back in the 60s and 70s, making these props. And a lot of the time, people knock the prop makers and go, oh, it's just slap this together and that's it. And yeah, probably with the budget, that's all they could do. But some of the stuff was really, really good and out there, and very artistic flair on a lot of things.
You talk about the props from the 60s, and of course, you had a hand in restoring an Ice Warrior, as I recall.
Yeah, because I buy and sell props, and this is what I do for a living. It's a 9 till 5 job, all year round. I get offered a lot of props that could do with a little bit of restoration. I won't restore them myself. I will bring someone in, such as the Ice Warrior head. It had seen better days, and I needed to pick someone that was going to restore it sympathetically, not over the top, that you can't recognize anything that was original on it. And we got Mike Tucker involved, and Mike had restored the head sympathetically again, to a fantastic state. We were able to trace with the help of Richard Molesworth, who did a Doctor Who magazine feature on it. We're able to trace back basically from the 60s what 2 episodes stories, it had been in, and then all the way from all of its TV appearances and different combinations.
I mean, I saw that. I've seen the before and after pictures, and the end result is just pure glory. I mean, I just so wish that a lot of Doctor Who in the 60s had actually been in colour, because a lot of the effort that went into those props was unbelievable in many respects.
Yeah, no, it's fantastic. So even seeing the colour combination on the head, granted, the exhibitions had painted over it in this weird neon green look, I presume to react to some lighting or something like that. But seeing the different shades as well, and the actors' names in it, written twice inside.
The authenticity, though, of handling a prop of such fragility, I mean, literally, I would imagine that if you were too rough with it, it would actually sort of start to disintegrate.
Yeah, literally, I was worried of sneezing near the Ice Warrior, and he took quite a long voyage to America, and yeah, he had a custom made case for him, and it was a sort of next day delivery from the UK over there, and he survived and is very cherished by his new owner, which is very important when you're dealing with props, because yeah, I buy and sell them, but also this is a lot of history to people. There's a lot of sentimental value in a prop, even though someone might have not owned it. It's the fact that it's all of our history and stories.
Now, I saw it come across my Facebook feed just a couple of days ago. An amazing photograph that you've had staged in a studio of what looks like the original Tomb controller costume. I'm assuming from Tomb of the Cybermen. Is that correct?
Yeah. So basically, had a telephone call from a chap saying, "Look, I've got the original overalls, the costume part, not the head and not the boots," and said, I want to sell it. And it would be lovely to put it into a museum, and don't get me wrong, I would love to see these things out there for everyone to see. And there is museums that do that. Neil Cole's Science Fiction Museum, and then if there's another Doctor Who exhibition. And I had basically said, look, the best way of getting it out there is we need to restore it sympathetically, because there was a few parts missing, like some of the hemispheres on the overalls. There was no boots and no head. So the head resides somewhere. There's two of them, a stump one and there's a hero one. They reside in private collections, and of course they're not for sale. So the second best thing you could do is get a casting of the original head, which a friend of ours had got. We got the casting of the original head, and then we thought, okay, we've got the suit. It needs restoring. Who's going to be the best person for this? And a friend of ours, Rob Alsop, worked on Doctor Who in the 80s, and he works in Doctor Who today. And his expertise is costumes and things like that. So it went over to Rob, and Rob was able to match the head paint exactly, because this was a raw casting we had. He sculpted a new rear panel to the back of the head because that was missing. And I think it even it's missing on the stunt helmet as well, so wherever that may be. And then he sympathetically restored all of the parts of the suit that needed to be done. We had to then contact Michael Kilgareth and say to Mike, look, how tall were you back in the 60s when you were filming Doctor Who? We haven't got any boots. And he was like, oh, okay, actually the boots were his own. And we was like, okay, what do you mean? Did the BBC not supply your own boots? And he said, no, I had such big feet that I had to bring my own in because the BBC wardrobe department didn't have anything. So he had to bring in his own Wellington boots, and they sprayed them silver. And after filming, he said that he took them back home and was, I think, in a garden centre or gardening. I can't remember. I'd have to look through the conversation I had with him. And he's wearing silver boots, which is amazing. But that's how it was back then, in comparison to today, where there's bigger budgets, bigger allowances, and people have probably got smaller feet.
How authentic do you try to be when you're in the process of restoring something of that age?
100%. If there's a fine line of, we need to paint match, we need to look at references of photographs, we need to look on screen, and what's best for the piece, but also not ruin a piece. We don't want to repaint the whole thing. We need to find, if there's a part missing, we need to make it so it's detachable, and it's obvious to the person that, yeah, that is a restored section, but it doesn't look like from the outside. So there's a thin line of what you can do on that area.
And if you had to pick your next project, what would it be?
A client of ours has currently got a 1960s Shorecraft Dalek, and it was last filmed in the 60s, so it's nearly untouched. That is something we want to get back at the workshop, photograph and show the world, basically. It would be nice to get it on display. If there's an exhibition experience or anything, it would be nice to get some of these props that our clients have got and we've got here in the workshop on display, even if it's for a short period of time.
And can we follow any of that restoration?
It's not been restored. It's basically left as it is. The gentleman and current owner of it has basically, there might be a panel, a slat that may have been replaced. I'm not sure. I couldn't tell you. But so far, everything is how he had it.
Wow. Well, I mean, you see, I've got a love for Daleks myself, so I would actually love to see something just as original as that. It would just be lovely to see. Finally, just before we close up, I understand you've a bit of an exclusive for us.
Yes. People that know me will know that I sell the Millennia FX helmets, and this is an exclusive And the Millennium FX are actually going to be re-releasing the Cyberman helmets, but these are a wearable mask. So before, when Millennium FX did the series, it was a replica range. You couldn't wear them or anything, but these are actually going to be a wearable head. So this is the first time it's been released, told anywhere that this is going to be happening. So yeah, the BBC gave Millennium FX the go ahead, and this is one of them. So I would, yeah, this is almost a must for myself as well.
So not available yet. I take it it's a case of watch this space.
Yeah. I mean, you can follow my Toy Box Treasures Facebook or my TBT Props website, and just keep an eye out. We'll be putting the order in up soon for those. Okay,
Matt, it's been an absolute pleasure to just very briefly touch on some of the amazing work that you're carrying out. Fabulous John Davey photo there. Lovely to see you. Stay safe, and thanks very much for your time.
Likewise, nice speaking to you. Cheers.